Hey guys, I know it's not Sunday. I missed making the video yesterday because I spent the weekend in the mountains and I was planning on coming back in the morning, and on my way down the mountain I found out that the main road to get off the mountain was closed. Long story short, I had to go a long ways out of the way just to get off the mountain, and then I had to drive back up to Winston to pick up my dogs because my sister was watching them. Long story short, I was trying to get home at like 2, 3, maybe 4 p.m. and I got home at like 9 or 10. So I didn't get to make it, but there were a ton of awesome submissions. Don't forget to get yours in very last minute. There's only a day left. So go ahead, get your entries into this month's giveaway. But for now, this is the EDC Weekly 07. So I have to say, I think this is the first female we've ever had on the EDC Weekly as far as even submissions go. So thank you. This one comes from Jaclyn Spencer, who you can find on Instagram at Jaclyn Spencer. But right off the bat, something you see is something you don't often see in EDCs, which is over-the-ear or on-ear headphones. Jaclyn uses the Urban Ears Platin ADV wireless headphones. There's also a Strontium Nitro Class 10 32GB micro SD card with an OTG reader. There's an Energizer pen light as well as a generic whistle. Beside that, you see the Leatherman Squirt PS4, and then also there is the Asus Zenfone 2. I purchased a Zenfone 2, wanted to love it. It looked great. I got it for a killer deal on Amazon, and it never worked. I turned it on, it went haywire, I sent it back and got my money back. Then there is also the Mighty wallet, which is a lot like the Tyvek wallet that I made. These are the official ones that you can purchase. Really cool wallets. I actually have one myself that I used for a long time. And then there's also a DIY hand spinner made with zip ties and bearings. There's also a wooden watch with no given brand name, a DIY monkey fist Beglary, I think is how it's pronounced. It's also another fidget toy or something you can play with. And then also a DIY paracord bracelet. Jaclyn says she uses her Urban Ears. They're always on the instant she leaves home. If not, they're hanging around her neck. She also uses the light for daily use for the obvious reasons, but also for subtle lighting when taking photos in dark places. There's also the generic whistle for self-defense. She uses the Leatherman Squirt PS4. It says all women should carry some sort of multi-tool. The Squirt PS4 is very sturdy and reliable. She also says it's been used a lot, and some of those uses have been very unusual, like being used as a makeshift lock for public bathrooms. But yeah, other than that, the other stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Very cool EDC. Thank you for being the first female to do this. You don't see a lot of females submitting. I'm happy that you did, so thank you, and you now have a second entry into this month's giveaway. This next EDC comes from Kevin Lau, who you can find on Instagram at KVNLAU7. This is a very simple EDC, very minimal, but it's also probably a lot more expensive than you would imagine, especially at first glance. But first up here, we have the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 CTS XHP in orange. That alone is a $250 knife, just depending on where you buy it. There's the Spyderco Rhodey, which is a cheaper Spyderco knife. And then there's the Craft & Lore Shell Cordovan Port Wallet. The Lamy 2000 fountain pen with a medium nib. The Rhodia Note Block fountain pen paper. Then there's the Monroe Mega Dangler Mokuti. And then the Richard Rogers Kiridashi. That is a little keychain knife that's also about $250. They're custom made. They're not really easy to find, if you can even find one. But those two knives alone is about $500 worth of knives. Crazy, I know, but still very, very cool EDC. Kevin says knives for EDC, the Rhodey is for packages. He's a fountain pen lover, and that's why he also carries a fountain pen note block. Port wallet made out of shell that is compact and patinas nicely. The Monroe Mega Dangler for easy access to his keys, and the Richard Rogers Kiridashi is a package mail opener. It's a very expensive package or mail opener. Thank you for sharing this, Kevin. Very awesome EDC, and you now have a second entry into this month's giveaway. This last EDC comes from Luiz Lobão. I think I said that correct. You can find him on Instagram with his name. First up here, you have an iPhone 6 with a Mophie case, but he said he recently switched to the iPhone 7, and it's not pictured. Here, there is also a slim wallet by Outer, which he says is a Brazilian brand. There's the Leatherman Wave, which is obviously one of the most popular everyday carry multi-tools out there. There's the Invictus Phantom knife, a keychain and whistle, which has no brand, an Apple Watch Series 1 42mm space gray, some Ray-Ban Men's Tech carbon fiber rectangle sunglasses, a pocket flashlight, also no brand, and then earphones which look to be Apple EarPods. Luis says, I live in Rio de Janeiro and I ride a motorcycle every day to work. I carry the Wave in case I need to do some small repairs on the bike. Never had to, I usually use it to open boxes. use the pliers for some minor stuff and to tighten screws. The pocket knife and the whistle are for self-defense. Sometimes just blowing the whistle will draw attention to you and the criminal might walk away. Really cool EDC, Luiz, and yes, I get it. I've never experienced it, and honestly, sadly, I don't want to experience Brazil anymore. It is a terribly dangerous place, and the internet makes it seem just insanely dangerous. I'm sure it's dangerous. I don't know if it's as dangerous as the internet makes it seem. Probably just based on what I've heard and read. So stay safe out there, use that whistle, and you now have a second entry into this month's giveaway. Thank you all for submitting this month. I will announce what's in this giveaway coming up soon, and I'm going to announce what's coming up for the February giveaway before all you guys enter, just to make sure that you know what you're entering for, because I've kind of been behind schedule. I will get ahead of this. I will get ahead of this, I promise. But if you found this video helpful and enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more stuff like this in the future, as well as DIYs and reviews of other things. But we'll get to that. You can find us pretty much everywhere at Mod at Home. And of course, one last time, my name is Taylor Martin. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at CasperTech. And until next time, happy modding.